Yankee Soiree in 1917 started a tradition carried on today, the cocktail party.
The first ever recorded cocktail party was here in St. Louis. News 4's Alexis Zotos is taking a look at how our history is influencing the present and making St. Louis proud.
It's a riff on a Manhattan with some more modern ingredients.
For nearly 2 decades, Ted Kilgore has been mixing up craft cocktails. A look at his menu at Planters House in Lafayette Square shows a list of new and classic cocktails.
True classics to me are things that are more than 100 years old, but it's just like a souffle or something that's been done for forever. People can take and put their own modern spin on it.
The Reverie is Kilgore's take on a Manhattan, a drink they were sipping on at the first ever cocktail party, which took place right here in St. Louis.
St. Louis has always been a town that's, in one way or another, has been centered around, beer and spirits, obviously. So it makes sense.
Christopher Gordon is the director of library and collections for the Missouri History Museum. The reason we know St. Louis hosted the first ever cocktail party is because it was written about in the newspaper.
While we might not think that's very special, it was obviously special enough that it made the newspapers in 1917.
The headline, "Cocktail Parties Are New Society Stunt." It details the Sunday matinee affair hosted at the home of Mrs. Julius Walsh in the Central West End.
They were always hosting parties.
According to the newspaper, the Walshes had a bartender, but at the time, people could have been mixing their own cocktails, thanks to books like this.
Book was a bartender, a prominent bartender here in St. Louis in the 1900s. And he went so far as to print this mixology guide.
Tom Bullock had a lasting impression, writing about cocktails we're still drinking today. This room in Planters House is actually called the Bullock Room. And in it, mixologists like Kilgore are still creating and crafting cocktails for the next generation's parties.
I think St. Louis has a really cool scene as far as people wanting to continue to kind of broaden people's horizons and kind of show them unexpected flavors, but still hark back to classic technique.
In St. Louis, Alexis Zotos, News 4.